and gentlemen, Jonathan Winters. Thank you for coming on the program. I am so excited you're here in my studio. I don't know how I'm going to do this because...
Did you put this all together in therapy? This is the kind of thing we made the first time I had to go away. Wonderful little desk, almost for children, and you're an adult, but it works. See the little glasses of water here. On the Leno show, and excuse me, the other people, a Letterman, you don't even get this. You just got to look from him.
So I'm a step above that.
But you're a step above that. And this is, I didn't bargain to be this low, but I can understand it, and I'm not apologizing, and you don't have to apologize. I want to say this to your many fans, and say this to you directly, whether there's a camera back here or not. I watch you, and that's why I'm on the show.
And now, a brief campaign message from Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Hi, America. I'm Elizabeth Warren, and I just want to thank Connie Bryan for giving me a few minutes to come on her show tonight and talk to you, all her wonderful, progressive-minded viewers. And as you may know, I've been coming under heavy criticism for not being electable with Republicans lately. And a recent poll actually showed that faced with a choice between voting for me and Donald Trump, most Republicans would rather schedule a double root canal with their dentist than turn out to the polls on Election Day. One poll actually showed that most Republicans would rather vote for Hillary Clinton than vote for me. So I've got to make some changes to my image. I don't want all of you to freak out and be alarmed when you begin to see in the coming weeks and months me doing some things that maybe you might find just a little bit repulsive, maybe extremely repulsive to you. Because I'm going to be changing my image and doing some campaigning down in Florida and the Deep South Republican districts. Doing a lot of photo ops, eating a chicken sandwich or two at Chick-fil-A, devouring a plate of barbecue ribs at the Golden Corral, eating an entire T-bone steak at the Sizzler. Instead of my daily Starbucks, mocha latte and my breakfast sandwich there, I'm going to probably be frequenting the Waffle House. But I'm a patriotic American, and I do what I have to do, for this country and for you. I just want you to know. So don't forget that when you see me doing some ridiculous overpriced spending on uncomfortable shoes at Dillard's, Nordstrom's, and Macy's in the mall. But you guys will know, you'll always know the truth, and that is that I wear, of course, Indian moccasins, because I'm 1/32nd Native American, okay? So don't forget that. You can't run a country in Nordstrom high heels. I mean, I think that even the supporters of gay mayor Pete Buttigieg would understand that, right?
I knew there wasn't going to be a used Plymouth for me or something like that, or a set of toys that left over from Christmas or stolen from the Marines and Toys or Tots. Any rate, I said, I got to go on this show if the lady will have me on the show. Because a lot of people will say, and have, unfortunately, I don't know, you've had a lot of problems, and which I have. I don't lie, but I don't talk about them because other people
You've been
can
diagnosed bipolar.
Oh, yeah, I know, and I'm not. Believe me, I tell you, I was maybe at one time, but I'm really now, as within the last couple of years, polar. I tell you why. Because my wife and I went on a cruise, and we went around the Antarctic.
Right.
So I'm just polar. I haven't been to the Arctic, you say. But I've been to the Antarctic, so I'm just polar.
Okay.
What'd you get?
I'm a nice husband.
Yes, you are. What'd you get?
I don't know, some cafe latte bullshit. Cafe latte, what's that? That's
It's coffee and milk, Larry.
coffee and milk! Coffee and milk! Who would have thought? Of course, you can't charge $4 for coffee and milk. You have to come up with something else than that. Cafe latte.
Well, it's really good coffee and milk.
It's a really good scam, is what it is, Cheryl. Pretty good scam. You know, we gotta get into the beverage racket, Cheryl, we do.
You think so? Hey, but you know what? I'm tired of the caffeine. Let's do something like fresh lemonade.
Lemonade.
Yeah.
All right, I can do lemonade, but we can't charge $4 for a small lemonade, all right?
That's a good point.
You gotta call it, Aqua Limon! Aqua Limon!
You know what? I actually like the sound of that.
You like
I
it?
do.
Sounds good, doesn't
I
it?
do.
Sounds
That's not
refreshing.
bad.
Sounds
Excuse me, sir. May
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have one of those, what is that? Lemon water?
Much more than lemon and water, madam. You're buying a state of mind. You're buying an image. That'll be $4.95.
Not bad. Larry. Larry, what are you doing?
Don't you miss Don Adams?
Not
Get
that
smart.
much.
That was my favorite show. That was really good television. Not like this crap today.
Like the crap today. What, like Seinfeld?
Oh! Oh, watch it, woman! That was a low blow!
You walked right into that
That
one.
was a low blow! Chief, I'm hot on the bad guy's trail. Nobody knows I'm following him. We've stopped into a cafe to get an Aqua Limon. What is that, Chief? It sounds really refreshing.
Okay. Well, since my childhood, I was rolling on the floor laughing, so it's going to be really hard for me to interview you without.
Well, you're certainly nothing like my parents, because they were like this. What is he doing? What is this? And
Were
I
you were doing
was,
your routines when you were a child?
Oh yeah, I was an only child, and I thought foolishly I'd be number one, first on the will. And I'd get that wonderful desk that my great-grandfather had, or great-grandfather, roll-top desk. I'd get the Civil War sword. I got stiffed. I didn't get anything. I did get a softball that was eaten by a bad dog. And that's about it, and a picture of the family, which I burned.
Now, I'd like to start off by asking you how you actually got into show business.
Show business? Well,
It was in radio, right? And you moved
yes, radio. I'm one of these guys, actors, comedians, what have you, what many of those people that you've interviewed or know about will say, I wanted to be an actor ever since I was about 4 years old. I didn't know where I was at 4,
Exactly.
let alone what I wanted to be. I knew that the diapers had to be changed,
Exactly.
things like that. I was wearing socks that were pink, and I was a boy. But at any rate,
Still wearing pink.
Oh, I'm wearing Red Sox, Scorpio. Not Red Sox necessarily, just Red Sox for Scorpio. That a woman with blue hair asked me the other day, she said, what is your sign, Jonathan? And be serious. When you hear this, you see, life is a lecture. And I said, what is my sign? Slippery when wet.
You are watching Cable 10, Aurora, Illinois Community Access Television.
Wayne's World, party on! Excellent! Woo, 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 woo! It's Friday night, it's 10:30, it's time to party! Woo, 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 woo! Obviously, that's not gonna work. And that's the reason why Garth is not here tonight, because he insisted on doing the show wearing masks. And I'm sorry, but I'm just not having it. All right, so let's start over and do it right. Wayne's World, party on! Excellent! Woo, 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 woo! It's Friday night, it's 10:30, it's time to party! Woo, 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 woo! Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm your excellent host, Wayne Campbell. Not here with me, as never before in the history of the show, of course, Garth. But the show, the mask-free show, has to go on. The party has begun.
Where I became manic depressive and threw up, was sick, pants loaded, everything, failed. In my first grade in school, my dad, I don't want to pick on the dad, but I'm telling Jody where you are. Anyway, he was, he should have, you know, studied in Heidelberg and ended up with Adolf. But anyway, he said, and he loved math. It's always people that love it. If I give you, kid, pay attention. He was always grabbing me. Wasn't molesting me, but good start, you know, to shake, oh, Jesus. And I'd cry. What is it, Dad? If I give you, now listen, pay attention. If I give you 4 apples, get it? And 3 more, how many do you have? I think I'd have stood a chance if I'd seen the apples. But you see, there weren't any apples there. Most people, normal people, can, I know, you have 7. I said,
Exactly.
crying, vomiting, sickly, arms, stains under the arms, eyes crossed, genuflecting, not even a Catholic. And I said, too many for the lunchbox. And then he shook me until my head, oh, yeah, oh. And I was never quite right after that.
Well, as you can see, I'm flying solo for the first time in the show's history. Yes, it's very sad. I've lost my best friend and sidekick to COVID-19. No, Garth didn't die from COVID-19. He just became a fearful, sheep-minded, germophobic mask Nazi. COVID-19 fear, fascism, and germophobia are not just un-American. They're needlessly destroying families and lifelong friendships. Remember the flu? At least the flu was a patriotic virus. Remember when you'd get the flu and you'd still try to party all night long? You'd just suck down an extra bottle of Dayquil and you'd get back to being shagadelic and being groovy, baby, yeah. But COVID-19 has made Americans and Canadians become fascist Nazis seemingly overnight. People are now looking at their neighbors like they're infected walkers from The Walking Dead. And they don't even need to be bitten by them. Just being in the same room, just being in the same Costco warehouse big box store with other humans is now cause to be in fear for your life. What the hell has happened to our society that we now look at everyone so horribly in fear for our lives and don't want to socialize with each other? You know, that we would call the cops on our neighbors for having more than 3 people over for their Christmas party. That we would make little children wear masks outside in the park. Yesterday, someone told me they took their child to the local playground and every other child was wearing masks out in the fresh air. But wait, it gets worse. One of the mothers took out a Lysol wipe and started trying to wipe down a tree that her kid wanted to climb. The mother was concerned that the maple tree needed to be disinfected. I got news for you, lady. You're the real infection, all right? Your brain needs to be disinfected, not the innocent maple tree. Oh, and remember how we banned Halloween last year? Why the hell would we need to ban Halloween if the kids can play in the park wearing masks? I mean, that's the whole point of Halloween, isn't it? That you're wearing a mask already? So I'm sorry, banning Halloween was just retarded, okay?
Most people would agree you are the pioneer of improv.
I wish I could be humble. I wrote a book on humility. It's still 1 page. But I'd like to think that, yeah.
So you
Anyway.
started with your improv
Yeah.
on radio.
I was in my 3rd year of art school. And my wife had graduated from Ohio State. She got her master's in art, so we met as artists. And our love of art, you know. My drawings were a little unusual. a lot of this. What is going on?
What is that supposed to be?
What is that supposed to be?
And so
I
you
s-
started
I-
with
I-
art.
And I started with art, and there was a wristwatch given away. This is Dayton, Ohio, where I was born, my wife and my son. And So my wife said while I was still in art school, they're giving, they're having an amateur show down at the Colonial Theater, which was a big theater in Dayton, and why don't you go down? They're giving away a wristwatch. Why don't you go down and try to win the wristwatch? So I was just cocky enough at that time. Here I am, 21 years old or 22. And I said, yeah, I'll go down there and try to get the watch. It won't be any Patty Philippe. Sure as hell won't be a Rolex, but I'll get it. Well, it was Mickey Mouse without the ears. But at any rate,
and you won.
I won.
Anyway, it's time for me now to introduce my special guest on the show tonight. I can't tell you how excited I am. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the king of talk radio himself, Mr. Howard Stern. Wayne's World, Howard Stern! Party on! Excellent! Woo, 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 woo!
Good to be with you, Wayne, on the world-famous Wayne's World. Sorry to hear about Garth going full masked Nazi on you. I don't know what I'd do if Robin ever joined these masked Marxists. I will say there was always something just a little bit Marxist about those black-rimmed glasses, those standard commie issue glasses that Garth always wore, you know? Oh, and by the way, I understand you and Garth made a run for the president on the Wayne and Garth 2020 independent ticket, and I'm sure a lot of folks would like to know how you're feeling about that right now after some of the apparent election fraud that we saw.
Well, Howard, you're touching on a sore subject there. Honestly, I will admit that's also part of the reason why Garth isn't with me on the show tonight. I will say that the Wayne and Garth 2020 ticket didn't fare as badly as many people think. We did really well in Alaska, for example, with the Eskimos. Turns out the Eskimos really like Wayne's World. And also, I heard that Lorne Michaels voted for us, along with Tina Fey and Jimmy Fallon, and a couple of other of our friends from SNL. So that was cool. Oh, and of course, my wonderful, loving mother.
Do you want some chocolate chip cookies, honey?
Stop it,
some
Mom.
chocolate chips.
Don't be so embarrassing. I'm in the middle of a show with the king of talk radio, Howard Stern.
Wow, your mom sounds really hot, Wayne. Is she hot? How about her cookies? Are her cookies hot too?
Okay, well, thanks for that visual, Howard. Now I'm going to have to hit the rewind button and try really hard to get that thought out of my head forever.
And I got a call about 2 days later from WING, and which is a 5,000 water. And so a pretty good shot, you know, for a kid that had nothing to do with communications or any experience in radio. So the guy said, we'd like to have you as our morning disc jockey.
Wow.
And I turned to my wife and I said, I don't have any. Ask her how much you're getting. How much? It's always, how much you're getting? How much you're getting? The world says, what's in it for me? So I said, what is in it for me? I'm going to art school, and I said, we're broke and we're living in a big house with 4 other families. I'd like to get some kind of money. Well, we're taking a chance on you, Jonathan, as to being our morning man, you know. We thought you were funny at the Colonial Theater, but $65 a week. What do you say to that?
65 a week.
Oh, I leaped. I said, my God, that'll repair the grill on my car. Realized when I looked at...
And it was called the Johnny Winter Show.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
And I looked at the call letters over the microphone. The engineer was a guy, I never forget, Wilbur Botts. Big guy.
That sounds like an engineer at a radio
Yeah.
station. Wilbur Botts.
Kind of a closet redneck.
Okay.
And whatever that is. At any rate, he gave me that signal. I knew then this would be my career.
You felt it right then?
Oh, as long as I didn't know I was going to be in radio that long, but this was going to be the start of something. You know? So right away, Roman candle. I said, hey, Johnny Winter's here. Hey, it's just about 30 seconds past 6. Hope you enjoyed the Star Spangled Banner. Yeah, good. Okay, I don't know who sang it. Maybe nobody sang it.
He's telling you to wrap it up.
Oh yeah, already. So I said, we've got some sponsors here, and it's just it's now 6:07. Time gets away from me. It's a little cold out there, 12 below. I'd forget the big shower or bath, be a little gamey, put on the wife's perfume. They'll think you're a little different, but at least you'll smell good. And go to the desk with that idea. At any rate, about a week passed, and I decided to interview myself. I couldn't get stars well known. So I would say, Ladies and gentlemen, it's now 7:45, whatever it was. We have Wing Commander Leslie Fitzpuffin, who's flown a secret aircraft from London to Labrador and into right field. So, what was the big thrill when you flew over Dayton for the first time? Jonathan, my parents were missionaries, and I was brought up in Singapore, in the Middle East. Not Middle East, but in Asia, whatever. And of course, I've lived in India, where father and mother Christians were trying to, push the Bible about. And I've lived in Rome, and I lived in Madrid. But to fly over Dayton, Ohio, God, I flew in at night, you see. And it was like flying in over a series of sparkling diamonds on a velvet carpet. Well, that's all crap. And people, the board lit up like a Christmas tree. Who the hell is this guy? Who are you kidding? Dayton, Ohio, gonna look like a carpet. We live out of Frigidaire. You know what, this place is major, like a toilet out there. Well, got a lot. The manager from the station came up. Who are you talking to? Well, I said, he's gone now. I just don't do that interviews anymore with people that are strange. Just do time and temperature, play Nat King Cole, pick up your check and go back to art school.
So the management really thought someone had interviewed someone.
That's how bright they were.
Oh, goody goody. It's executive time. I get to do anything I want now because I'm president of everything. And I know what I want to do, my most favorite thing. I want to check in and see what Ivanka is doing in the bedroom. Maybe she's changing clothes. I'm going to check my president of everything secret spy cam that she doesn't know about.
Daddy, I know you're on your peeping Tom cam. I'm monitoring your phone.
All right, what else do I want to do? I know, I want to declare another national emergency. 911.
911, what is the nature of your emergency?
Original recipe.
I'm sorry, did you say original recipe?
Yes, I'm declaring a national emergency. The monster Mexican drug lords working the drive-thru at my local KFC chicken are clearly changing the original recipe. I want you to send the SWAT team over there, and I want you to deport every last one of them.
Mr. President, is this you calling during executive time again?
No, this is Lindsey Graham.
Mr. President, I recognize your voice and the number you're calling from at the White House. I need you to put your daddy on the phone right now.
No, there's no need to bother Vladimir Putin about this.
Okay, then I need you to put your mommy on the phone right now.
No, there's no need to get Melania involved either. I'm still the President of the United States, and this is a national emergency. This is why we need a wall at the border, because they're coming here and they're doing something to our beloved American fast food, and I think they're doing something to my Big Mac too.
Mr. President, are you saying you think someone is poisoning your food?
No, I'm not saying. Now, because I ordered Vice President Pence to taste test everything, and apparently he's still alive. Last time I checked. Besides, the only person that I think would likely poison me would probably be Vladimir, and he's not gonna poison me as long as I keep doing everything he tells me to do. Like give him a little bit of top secret information once in a while. Maybe dismantle the NATO treaty and pull us out, and undermine democracy a little bit more. Harmless stuff. Believe me, I've got a handle on it.
Mr. President, what makes you think Mexicans working at your local McDonald's are doing something to your Big Mac?
Believe me, trust me, I can tell you, they are up to no good with the special sauce on my Big Mac. Trust me, I know what the special sauce is supposed to taste like, and I can tell you they are putting something else entirely on my Big Mac. Whatever sauce they keep putting on it does not have the same texture. It's not the same. It's a little whiter, and it tastes a lot more salty.
So how did you move into television?
Quickly. Television, this is 1950, came into Ohio, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Dayton. And so I thought I better put some feelers out for television, because that's where it's going to happen, where it did happen, and has. So I got a feeler from WBNS in Columbus. And they said, come on over here, what experience have you had? And I said, I've been a jockey in Dayton on the radio there. I haven't had any television experience. And they said, okay. So I auditioned for this man who was different. And he kind of stared at me and, is this what you do? So I said, yeah, this is my comedy. Okay, I mean, this is Southwestern Ohio. I mean, and I was doing different people from Southwestern Ohio. So anyway, they took me on. It's the longest job, Connie, I've ever had. It isn't a question of being proud that I did other things, because I did a lot of other things even before I got in this business, a lot of things. But the longest job in the world of radio and television, theater included, I had 2.5 years at WBNS. I'm living in a housing project the whole time. I have a boy by this time, my wife. And I got from $75 up to $125, which sounds like a lot of money. Not when you're driving a Dodge that you have to be towed to work.
Right.
That's not good. At any rate, I went in for the $5 raise. And the guy said something that just stays with me. God, I hope I don't get Alzheimer's for this reason alone. Jonathan? His name was Tad. Didn't that tell you something? Let me say this. We brought you along at a time when you had a great deal of talent, but not that much. But we felt that we could bring you around, and we have brought you around. You know, you've done everything but the news, and we couldn't trust you with that. But you sold beer, a local beer, did some of the weather for, the 4 days, and then you said there was snow in July, which drove people crazy. Crazy thing. So this thing of $5 is ridiculous.
And they wouldn't give it to you.
They wouldn't give it to me. And I have often thought back, I think any of us, young or old, how I might have stayed. Because at that time, we had to get out of the housing project. With $130, as stupid as I was, I felt that at least I'd get out of the housing project. At least I wouldn't have to be towed anymore in the Dodge.
And this is what kind of pushed you over that?
So I went to my wife, and I give her 100% credit for many things. And I said, Eileen, I've got to quit this job. I've got to go to New York. She said, well, I'm for you. Now we got Jay, my boy, our boy. You're going to New York.
And you went to New York.
I went to New York.
Without anything lined up, you just
I
went.
had nothing, it was cold.
Mr. President, you are abusing your authority by continuing to claim an emergency where there isn't one. You are like the boy who cried wolf. Someday when there's a real emergency, no one will believe you.
I have to say, that really hurts. I mean, have I ever, as your president, have I ever lied to you?
Yes, all the time. You lie to the American people constantly.
Okay, whatever, but I'm not lying to you right now. The Mexicans at my KFC are doing something to the original recipe. Okay, this drumstick, it does not taste American. It tastes Mexican. Okay? They're doing something to my special sauce on my Big Mac, and I'm declaring a national emergency on behalf of all Americans. I'm ordering you to send the SWAT team over to my local KFC in Washington, D.C. and the McDonald's, and I want you to round up all the Mexicans, and I want you to deport them all. Oh yeah, and don't forget my special signature touch. Separate the children from the parents so they learn their lesson.
Mr. President, do you realize the real national emergency we would cause if we rounded up all the Mexican immigrants who work in the fast food industry?
What are you talking about? My base will love me. They'll worship me more than they worship Jesus if I do this.
Do you think any of the white Americans in your base want to work the drive-thru at McDonald's or KFC?
Okay, no problem. No problem. I'll just get Elon Musk. I'll dial him up and I'll get him to commit to making like a couple of million Caucasian robots that could work in the fast food industry. You don't need to be a human being to put special sauce on a Big Mac, let me tell you.
Okay, that's it. I'm dispatching a squad car right now.
Fantastic. See, I knew you were a patriotic American.
No, I'm sending a squad car to the White House right now, and they're going to charge you with making false emergency calls to 911.
I'm really scared. Really. I mean, everybody knows you can't charge a sitting president. Okay? Everybody knows that, duh. And good luck getting me to stand up.
But I lived 11 years in New York and worked at many, many days and weeks and hours.
Would you write material before you'd go into a club and do, or would you really walk in?
A lot of times I'd walk in fairly cold. I couldn't walk in completely.
Right, you'd have a general outline in your
general
mind.
outline where I was going to go.
And what were a couple of the early characters that you?
Well, one was the Maud Frickert, Grandma Frickert. I did Granny, who was kind of a dirty old lady. But when I say dirty, not filthy.
Right, because you are known for working clean.
No four-letter language. But for instance, you would ask me, you've been married 8 times, you see, and I play Granny.
Okay, so I understand, Granny, that you've been married 8 times?
Yeah, 7 were disastrous. First off, I've always considered myself a very warm individual.
Well, I think you are.
And that doesn't mean a cellophane nightie. You have to play a little kissy face. A lot of these guys jumped on me before I even pulled the hamburgers out of the kitchen area. And talk about horny, Jesus. I mean, these guys were animals. Take your clothes off, get out of the car. Either you put out or get out. A lot of times I had a pocket knife on it, and I'd stick the guy, and he'd have a tough time driving back to town.
But then it hit me, knowing Chris Rock, I'm sure that he accepted the invitation just so he could have some one-on-one time with Kanye. Since it was a listening party, make sure Kanye was listening to him. So I'm going to do my best Chris Rock impersonation for you here. All right.
All right, Kanye, are you listening to me? Are you listening? Because this is your last chance, Kanye. Your last chance. You better get to detaching your lips from Donald Trump's orange ass and get to apologizing to all of America for being such a giant f***ing Nabisco Oreo. I'm gonna have to get to apologizing for you at my next HBO special. And if I have to apologize for you, I'm bringing new meaning to the expression just like in prison, bitch. Are you listening to me?
All right. Hey there, young lady. What's your name?
Aline.
Aline?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Connie with the Connie Bryan Show, and what's your name?
Gabriel.
Hey, Gabriel. So did you guys have a reaction when you heard about Kanye's comments to TMZ about slavery being a choice?
Yeah, I did. I personally feel like, he's just being brainwashed and...
Brainwashed?
Yeah, it's just, we live in a society now where, being relevant is more important than actually saying the truth and actually being open with your people. So his comment is a really hurtful statement to the black community.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Just trying to get attention?
Yeah, I feel like it's a call out. I feel like he's in a really dark place right now.
Yeah.
Because how can you take a man who went from singing songs about, elevating black women, elevating, representing God and stuff like that, to a man who's saying slavery was a choice?
Right.
Like one of his rhymes was, he was talking about how the cocaine epidemic and like the drugs epidemic and how white people get paid for all of the, all of the shit that black people go through.
Right.
They get the benefit from it.
They benefit from the oppression.
But now, you're in a time where he's like talking about, slavery was your choice, and being,
he's blaming the victim.
Yeah, he's blaming the victim. It's like, I just feel like he's just in a really dark place right now. So, me personally, I don't listen to Kanye that much often, but I do like some of his music and I do like some of his songs.
You like
and
some of it. How is it going to affect you going forward? Are you going to, be a supporter of his music after this?
Honestly, I don't give a f***. Kanye, me personally, I feel like Kanye, he's making his money. He got to figure out where to stay relevant. He got his fashion show. He got Kim Kardashian, a lot of people like that, so he got to stay relevant.
Right.
So that's the main thing,
And how about you, young man?
I can't stand Kanye. Never was a fan of him, and I never thought about making comments on him, but I will on this one. And all I have to say about him is he's just stupid. That's not a good comment to make about
he needs to get
his
educated.
own race. I mean, these are your own people
Right.
that you're talking about. So, man, that's crazy.
He's got a responsibility to the people that look up to him not to be that stupid.
Yeah.
Cause this is gonna be your last listening party. When I'm through with you, ain't nobody gonna give a Fox and Friends what you have to say. Bill Cosby, when he's 90 years old and gets out of jail, will be selling more CDs than you at his chocolate jello pudding sorority sleepover party.
So what your first
Then
opportunity?
the other guy, I use a rural guy where I grew up and say, Miss Connie, you know, you asked me, this is a routine when I started out new, whether I'd seen this flying saucer, and I did. I'm not into drink. I've had a few drinks, but nothing to where you'd classify me as drunk or alcoholic. And this particular evening, my stepson, Leland, we was out there finishing up in the tractor, cutting wheat down, and it was close to, 7 o'clock, darkness had set in. And he had Skippy the dog, a little white dog, it's a little Russell kind of dog. And then this saucer landed. And I said to Leland, I said, good God, man, what the hell is this? And the boy said, oh, God. The boy was never right. He'd had a bad fall from the barn 6 or 8 years ago and landed on a pitchfork. You know,
no.
Oh, it drove him crazy. Didn't go through him, but it stuck him so bad that, at any rate, there was an opening of the saucer. It landed, burned all the wheat around in a circle. And I'd seen science features in the movies. This is a real thing because the Air Force interviewed me, local people on radio and television, wondering whether I was half crazed or something. And the boy, when the door opened, there was a little kind of a runway, and this man come down in a silver suit, and he didn't have them slope eyes. He looked like Bob Edlers, who works in a shoe store in downtown. He looked like Bob, and the boy said, he looked like Bob. Don't do that. And he held the dog up, and the dog barked, and the guy with a space gun dissolved the dog in the boy's arms. That upset me, and the boy commenced to run, and I could go on, but we were scared.
That's hilarious.
We're gonna keep this show rolling. This next comedian, she is hilarious. I've known her for quite some time. She does comedy all across the country. She has a show, the Connie Bryan Show, on Access Sacramento. Let's give it up for the very hilarious Connie Bryan, everybody! Thank you very much. I'm Connie Bryan. You guys are a great crowd. Do I seem kind of tall? Why are you laughing? I swear to God, if I hear one more person ask me if I play basketball, I'm gonna scream. No, you play miniature golf? I saw the little putter, and I just assumed. Oh look, now it's a 3-wood. This guy's looking at me already going, that's the tallest chick I've ever seen in my life. Wonder what that'd be like. But seriously, if you're like me, you're a 6'3" tomboy, American tomboy, thank you very much, who's getting pretty tired of people running up to you on the street going, yo, love your work on Game of Thrones. Not the dragon. The dragon. I'm talking about the big, tall, badass chick, you know, that kicks all the guys' asses. Bet you can't kick my ass. Bet you I can. Matter of fact, let's find out right now. Yeah, that's what I thought. You better run, you fourth graders.
So I started with a lot of characters, and I'm still doing those characters.
Yes, you are.
And having fun with them.
And very well. You keep me in stitches constantly. Now, your first opportunity in television.
Matinee theater, I did a lot of extra stuff. And then my biggest break came, I went with Marty Goodman. He's gone now, but he was my agent in New York, and they had a hell of a strong group of people to represent. They had Hugh Downs, Arlene Francis. This is going back a long time. There's a lot of young people who won't remember these names, but they had Carol Burnett.
They'll remember Carol.
And myself, and a couple of other people. Bill Cullen. I don't know if you've seen him, but...
and speaking of Carol Burnett, who also lives near Santa Barbara, I believe, would you consider her to be very much similar in her style? Does she do a lot of improv, or does
No, Carol is pretty much a scripted lady.
Scripted?
Very gifted lady. We're not dismissing the fact that she's not a tremendous talent. She had a great set of writers. And if you have a great set of writers...
And of course, she takes off running with that.
That's right, yeah, exactly.
And then it becomes...
I'm sure they had times when they had fun. For instance, to look at their cast, I mean, the people around her, Tim Conway and the other guy, what's the other guy's name? That worked with Tim Conway. Harvey Coleman. Thank you. Harvey's on the set. Hi, Harvey. But anyway, she always had some great people around her. And I just... my problem was that I did a lot of improvisation. I still do. And writers are not going to love you. In the fact that you can do this.
Because they want you to stick with what they wrote.
That's right, exactly. And I can't blame them for that. But this is the way I chose to go, and I had to fight these guys. And consequently, I paid some heavy dues for going up against them.
Okay.
It's like being dirty. It's not that it's not like I'm some, Bible Belt guy. That's not it, or some magic Christian. I just know, I know this much. You can be hilarious. You can be funny without being filthy.
Exactly.
You can be risque. You can be blue. You can be naughty. But it's another thing to be filthy.
Exactly.
You're not shaking my cage. It's not that you're frightening me. Why go for education? Why go for just normal conversation if you're going to give FUC every 5 seconds?
Exactly. And that's the direction that show business has gone in, especially at the comedy clubs. It's hard to go and do clean material anymore.
But you can't be a red, white, and blue American tomboy without having a love affair with cars. All right? Let me tell you guys how much I love cars. I love cars more than Paula Deen loves holding a Ku Klux Klan bake sale. Isn't it exciting? Isn't it really exciting to see the American car makers kicking ass again? Huh? Isn't it great? Honda is not on top anymore. And don't get me wrong, it's not because Honda makes bad cars. They just make really, really boring cars with names that don't reflect the spirit of what's going on the American roadways. I mean, think about it. The Honda Accord, are you kidding me? Do you see any Accord or Harmony on the American roads anymore? They might as well just name that car the Honda Coexist. It would have been a good marketing decision, because at least then they would have gotten that huge built-in customer base that loves the shit out of that bumper sticker, right? Oh my God, honey, Honda makes a car called the Coexist. Forget the bumper sticker, I'm gonna have it. Wait a second, I got a better idea. Let's take the bumper sticker, put it on the car, and then we can really be sure to get carjacked out of the mall. Or the Honda Civic, are you kidding me? Do you see anybody who's civic-minded, being a good citizen on the roads? People are genocidal behind the wheel. They treat their own neighbors in a school zone like members of a f***ing warring tribe. So Honda needs to follow Dodge's example if they ever want to have a hope of competing in America again. Because for some time now, Dodge has been leading the pack with their red, white, and blue names. The Dodge Ram, the Dodge Caliber. See? The Caliber, they know what's going on in the American roadways. The Dodge Charger, the Challenger, the Dodge Avenger. I bought one of those, I swear to God, I bought one of those. Let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you, you feel like you personally put a bullet in Osama bin Laden's head just by buying a new Dodge Avenger. It comes with a free
SEAL Team 6 t-shirt.
And I had to fight this through some damn near 50 years, working all kinds of gin mills and, oh, hey, you better dirty up. Talk about the woman's rack, you know, and talk about our thing here and here. Geez, I said, I don't do that. What do you do? Well, I do a baseball player. You know, everybody spits in baseball. I take my teeth out. Well, but you can be funny without doing all this stuff. Well,
absolutely. Now let's talk about your experience in Mad World. Was that?
That's the first movie I ever did.
The first, and that obviously was a real high point for you.
Well, it's been the biggest thing I've ever done. I look back over my shoulder, and I've done a lot of shows, and a lot of people have done a hell of a lot more shows than I have, and a lot more movies. But the fact that
Sid Caesar, Buddy Hackett,
Mickey Rooney, Phil Silvers, Dick Shawn, who was a great talent. Too bad he was taken out so early, and Ethel Merman, Spencer Tracy, Paul Ford. I mean, you
all-star cast.
Oh wow! And to step in when Stanley called me, I'd just come out of some a heavy joint. Not that it had to do with drugs or booze, just a long rest. Let's put it that way, rather than complain. What was it? What was it? What was he ill? You know. Well, I was. Let's say, you know, some of the marbles had dropped out of the magic chamois bag.
Straightened out.
Yeah. So at any rate, I worked on the picture for 6 months, and Stanley and I, Stanley Kramer, the director producer, we became really great friends, and. I loved this guy, and in turn, he really was terribly fond of me. It was just a wonderful relationship. I miss him because he taught me a lot, and he took me on at a time when, had I not done this picture, had I not produced and weathered whatever storm I was going through, it's very possible the career would have ended right then and there.
So it was a doorway that you needed to get through.
Oh boy, and how. And
I watched the movie and refreshed my memory because I had seen it years ago, and I watched it recently, and I saw how they didn't use you in enough funny ways that they could have, but maybe they didn't know your potential.
They had a big picture. They had 4 hours.
Because you were hilarious, but they could have given you so much
where I came
more.
to life for me, whatever frustrating problems I was having, was the gas station.
That was hilarious.
Which was an ideal place to let go, you know.
Did anybody get hurt in that scene where you were throwing?
I'll tell you something. I didn't get hurt.
Because there were no walls left at the end of that scene. The whole place.
They did it in one take too.
It was a big fight.
And Phil Silvers had left. He was the psychiatrist, got in a car and fled.
And Mr. Winters was throwing these two gas station attendants all over the place.
Arnold Stang and Marvin Worth, I think. Any rate, Arnold Stang, prior to this scene, he'd had as much as a couple of weeks off to go back to Beverly Hills, and he fell in a swimming pool and broke his arm. And he had to come back to shoot the gas station thing. So his arm was a cast, but they covered it with the costume and everything. And I was scared to death if I hit him too hard, break his arm again. But we worked around it, and he's got that great push, you know, that funny little guy. But I'm hitting him with these tires. And
were you doing most of your own stunts in that
movie? Oh, yeah.
Like when you jumped off the car at the guy, what's the name of the actor that you kept saying, well, if I get my hands on that guy?
Yeah. Well, Bear Hudkins, who's dead now, the stunt guy, and wonderful guy. He did a lot of stunts in the garage. I mean, rolling around stuff on the car.
There was that one scene where it looked like you jumped off the car onto.
That's where Bear came in.
He came in there.
It was great. Stunt people are special people. I often think they don't get the credit they do because they take chances. It's like the police or the military.
Right.
Their lives are on the line. The guy say, I love this one. The guy says, they've done 5 takes, and already the guy's singed his hair, his leg is broken, but he's still driving this crazy car. Bob, we know, the director, Bob, we know you were excellent in those 6 takes. Would you mind one more? All my hair's gone on this side. The leg, I'm in tremendous pain. Give him a shot of something. But remember to turn over at least 3 times. Love it. Let's do it. We're so close, people. Roll it.
You know, I've read the same sentence 3 times now, Do you want to read the funnies or something? Please.
I don't read the news press, Cheryl. I can't believe you're reading the news press, all right?
Well, Larry, where else am I supposed to get my Santa Barbara news?
Wendy McCall has only fired every decent journalist she ever had. Matter of fact, now the qualifications to work at the news press is you can't be a journalist, I think. Are you a journalist? Sorry. You know, go down the street. 50 pages of restaurant reviews, Botox ads, and plastic surgery ads.
Well, what do you want me to do, Larry? What are the alternatives?
There's lots of alternatives, Cheryl. I mean, there's the Independent, the Daily Sound, the El Mexicano.
The El Mexicano. Really? A personal favorite of yours.
Señorita. Si,
I'll
muy
bet.
estupendo.
I'll bet.
You want to know what I read?
Larry,
I am...
With bated breath, please tell me.
I am one informed Jew, Cheryl. I read the Christian Science Monitor.
The Christian Science Monitor. Are you crazy? I can just hear what your father would say about you reading a Christian newspaper.
He would say, good Jew, Larry, because you're rewarding good behavior.
Oh, you think so?
That's right. These are Christians. So. These are Christians who've added the word scientist to their religion. All right? That's making progress in any Jew's book, whatever book the Jew might be reading.
I think that was the Book of Ruth, wasn't it? That said that it's progress to put the word science in a newspaper.
It is. It's progress, all right? And scientists make good journalists. You won't see Christian scientists buying any of that virgin birth crap. You know, the walking on the water to wine. Look, we're Christian scientists. Take that crap down to the National Enquirer.
Who, if you were to pick 3 comedians right now that are working in the business?
I got to go with Robin because we're old friends.
You're his idol, his mentor.
The guy that did In Living Color.
Damon Wayans?
Damon.
He's incredible.
I loved him. The other guy, what's the other guy that played the fireman on Fire?
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey and the guy that did the church lady Saturday Night Live.
Dana Carvey.
Yeah, those are guys.
Incredible.
Those are the guys I loved. Yeah.
I agree. Dana Carvey is so hilarious.
And the little guy from Canada, who does
Mike Myers.
Yeah, I love
Amazing.
Mike Myers. Yeah.
Saturday Night
They're
Live.
very refreshing guys. There are others too, but I have to go with those are some. In Living Color, I was on the floor.
I was too.
I love that. It was the most refreshing television, and of course a lot of people, oh, that was a terrible thing when a guy came in, half of his face was burned away and he played a fire chief.
Right.
What is funny about this? Well, a lot of life just can't be all a pie in the face and people going, okay, no more of that.
So what advice would you give to people like myself trying to come up in the business? It's
one thing I got to tell you, because it applies to everybody in here. It's not just show business. It applies to your whole way of life. It's a big word called rejection. Because people will say to you, Connie, are your parents still alive? Go back to them. Well, what is this? What do you mean go back to them? I've been back there. They didn't think I was that funny. Or they laughed so much, they frightened me. You know, but I mean, what do you mean go back? You can't go back. But just get ready. And I don't know that, I've been on cattle calls. Mr. Winters, how old are you? I'll be 79 in November. Jesus, you'll be 79. Oh, God. We don't even have a grandfather part for it. Would you like to walk across in the scene? Walk across in the scene? The basket of fruit, the 4 bottles of wine?
Oh.
Huh? But you get in your car, you know that the $40 for the, and you have nothing except you, the car, a picture of your wife, a cardboard cutout of her, and you drive back to your home. How'd it go today, sweetheart? Terrible. Once again, I was going to take my life, but see, suicide, I'm not playing doctor or anything, but to me is a cop-out. Anybody can do this. Take the stuff and go night-night. Takes guts to live. And I must say this, I know a lot of young people and older people say, I will disagree, that's your prerogative. Versatility is a curse. One-dimensional people make a lot of money.
Isn't that something? So the more ability that you have to do many things,
it's a curse.
It's
a wonderful curse.
It tends to scare people.
Yeah, oh yeah, scare people. They don't know what to do with you. You frighten them. And
you never sold out. You stayed clean. You were under pressure from people that were trying to. I tried to sell out
because we had down payments on the house. But no, I didn't sell out. I won't sell out. It's a lovely couch. It should be more for dwarfs. Little people, I'm sorry. Because little people are sensitive about that. I understand that.
Well, thank you very much, and
thank you
for tuning into the program. This is the Connie Bryan Show. If you just tuned in, Mr. Jonathan Winters has been my guest. We'll see you next week. Take care.
I'm going to get back to my Santa Barbara News Press article about Britney Spears being bald now, okay?
See, that's exactly what's bothering me, all right? You'll never see a story in the Christian Science Monitor about Britney Spears being bald.
Larry.
Because any decent journalist knows that Britney Spears is not hairless.
She is bald, Larry. She shaved her whole head.
She shaved her head. Keyword, shaved. She's not naturally hairless. Brainless, maybe. Hairless, no. All right? The American Bald Society, of which, as you know, I am a member.
Oh, I know.
I just want to make this clear.
I know.
We categorically reject Britney Spears as a member.
You know, I really cannot keep up with all of your silly rules anymore. I can't.
They're not silly. I'm informed.
They're
I'm an
silly.
informed Jew.
They're silly. You know, what about cancer patients, Larry? What about people going through chemo? Did you think about that? Does the American Bald Society reject them too?
That's a pretty good question, Cheryl.
Yes, it is.
Pretty good question, Smarty Pants. Can you give me a week? I'm gonna have to check with a Christian Scientist. I'm gonna check with the Christian Scientist on that.
On the bald issue.
And get back to you.
Really?
Would that be all right? Can you give me a week?
I think I can give you a week, yeah.
Bet you Don Adams was a Christian Scientist.
So don't forget that when you see me doing some ridiculous overpriced spending on uncomfortable shoes at Dillard's, Nordstrom's, and Macy's in the mall. But you guys will know, you'll always know the truth, and that is that I wear, of course, Indian moccasins. Because I'm 1/32nd Native American. Okay? So don't forget that. You can't run a country in Nordstrom high heels.